Good afternoon. My name is Patricia Reset, and I am the Artistic Director of the Young Artist Programs of Opera Theater of St. Louis. Thank you for joining us for the second of this spring's John D. and Sally S. Levy Masterclasses. This series was created in memory of a founding board member, John D. Levy, and the purpose of these classes is to nurture emerging artists by offering them chances to work with a broad array of teaching artists. Now, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing today's teaching artist and my dear friend, Nova Thomas. Nova is an internationally acclaimed soprano who has sung around the globe and worked at the highest level with acclaimed conductors and directors. Nova was recently appointed as professor of voice and opera at the renowned Shepherd School of Music at Rice University, where she offers her expertise in not only vocal instruction, but in the development of the singing actor. She is a sought-after masterclass artist, and we are profoundly lucky to have her with us today. Please do welcome Nova Thomas.
Thank you, Pat. Today marks a wonderful return, actually, to the Opera Theater of St. Louis. Back when God was a baby, I made a very first and a very important debut there right on that stage. It was the era of Charles Mackay and Paul Kilmer and John Nelson and our beloved Colin Graham. It was also the debut summer for Tracy Dahl and Susan Graham and scores of other fabulous singers that become ultimately part of this wonderful Opera Theater of St. Louis family. Now, this young artist program is, of course, internationally renowned and revered for its recognition and nurturing of young talent. But now with Pat's vision and leadership, I think something extraordinary is happening, specifically in her plans for this additional 4-month winter partnership and mentoring program for the young artists who are very specifically anchored in just a few weeks in those summer months. And to do this over 4 additional months to prepare them is truly incredible. The needs of this time to keep art and her artist alive have occasioned many creative and wonderful new efforts. But this is unique. It's so much more than a rescue for a troubled time. I believe that it is going to set a new bar in artist training. And Pat, I am so touched to be part of this wonderful inaugural year. And now, to really why we're here, we have 3 fantastic singers today for you to see and hear. And I think I hear birds chirping somewhere.
Hello, everyone. My name is Avery Boettcher, and so delighted to be singing for you all today. And this is Angel Azzarra from I Pagliacci, Stridono lassù. Qual fiamma via nel guardo, gli occhi abbassai per tema che leggesse il mio pensier segreto. Oh, se mi sorprendesse, brutale come egli è. Ma basti, or mia, son questi sogni paurosi
Che borda uggelli e quante strida, che chiedo dove va, chissà, la bella mia che la pura ventura annunziava, comprendeva il canto e a me bambina così cantava. Strido lassù liberamente, lanciati amor come frecce piogge, disfidano le nubi il sorgente, e vanno premie del ciel. Lasciateli vagar per l'atmosfera questi ossidati d'azzurro e di splendor, seguono anch'essi un sogno, una chimera, e vanno fra le nubi d'or. Che ti vento, il latrinante investa, cuore aperte, son tanto sfidar, la pioggia e la me, nella veglia resta, e vanno, si è visti verso un paese strano che sognano forse, che cercano invan, ma i boemi del cielo sembrano poter che li sospinge e va, e va, e va, e va.
Brava. What a beautiful voice. And even more importantly, you have the musical and dramatic temperament for this piece. Beautiful singing, beautiful voice, some really good work. I'm going to stand up and let's dig in a little bit. You know, as you take this next step towards things really starting to happen professionally and far away from those student days, I think one of the biggest challenges is synthesizing all of the pieces we have to as singers. So we've got language over here, and we've got all of the incredible vocal demands, we've got musical demands, and then I think all too late come the character and dramatic demands.
Right.
So putting those together is our lifelong work, and I think takes us from that craftsman state to the emerging artist. And so with that in mind, I'd love to work with this in sections using some of the dramatic circumstances to answer perhaps some technical or musical needs, especially regarding changes of color. So can we do that and work through that with sections?
Absolutely.
So much was beautiful. And then I want to make sure that we have time for you to ask me questions about anything you need to do.
Sure.
Can you share with us what was the beat before? What happened that her first line is a reaction to? And that's how you need to begin, Avery, not acting, but reacting to what has happened. And what is that?
So she was she's talking about Canio and her fear of him finding out that she is in love, not with him, and the place that she is in is this terror, imagining what he would do, just knowing who, like, what type of person he is, what he would do if he were to find out. And she says, he could see it in my eyes. I couldn't even look at him.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting. She doesn't have to imagine. He literally told the village of people,
Yeah.
you know, by attacking them when they were teasing and saying, oh, this about the wife. He says, oh, that's not true in real life. And if it were, and we go on from there. And so it's a reaction to what you've heard and what you see, which you describe as what? With 2 double M's here, please, ma'am. What do you describe as that?
What fiamma, this fire, flame.
Was in his look. And
Yes.
those 2/8 notes are never even though they're written like that, because
Right.
it's guardo. And then isn't it interesting? His theme, when you look at this Verismo music, which is replete with motivic writing, his theme is under you as you continue and say what you just stated so beautifully. I lowered my eyes for fear that he would read. And then I loved this breath, Avery. There has to at least be a color change there. My secret thoughts. And at that very moment, Silvio's theme is underneath. So the orchestra, that musical script, is telling us what those thoughts are already. That music belongs to him. Then also this next O that stands alone in literary devices, we just call it a placeholder, and it's there to take on the emotion of what's going on. So that O can tremble, that O can be breathy, that O could moan, that O can take on a color that's full of feeling, that doesn't belong to text. It's a sound that describes what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he were to catch me, how brutal he would be. Really use the R, brr, really use that sound to color that. And then we have just this music, and she goes after this really fearful and urgent and nervous moment. She says, enough of that. Let me just go. Let me go inside, kick my shoes off. I'm getting all upset out here. These are fairy tale dreams, fears. They're fairy tale like. That means like certainly a grim fairy tale. They're imaginings. I'm just letting my head get away from me.
Yeah.
And Avery, this is what's interesting. Technically, the aria could end here. Go, okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back in about 45 minutes, and go. So I think she's really ready to leave. She's ready to leave. And then comes a noticing. And so you're on your way out, and here comes that chord that right over here, you see the sun, some sort of light. And then I think, Avery, you have an opportunity to create this landscape for your audience. We are responsible for creating what they will see. And so if you start from where you were exiting and then slowly pan across with each of those chords that are so gorgeous, and then literally breathe in what you're seeing and take from the scene that gorgeous soft A. So you were ready to go home. You spot something. There is a noticing. One could argue acting is a series of noticings and reactions to it. You see this, and then the landscape starts to get larger, and you pull that pitch out of what you see, and then it becomes what we hear, which is a pretty magical moment. And what I think can help you on the A as well is to think of it, I think of high notes as either having an entrance or an exit. They're never there. They're either in the activity of, oh, I'm getting there, or I'm now leaving. And where is it going? It's going down to agosto. So that keeps the voice moving and supple rather than sitting. Can we try this? And would you dare to think about some of this dramatic specificity? And
Yeah.
see if that doesn't have a bounce in what's
Sure.
coming out of that gorgeous throat of yours.
Sure.
Let's try just this much and then I'm going to stop.
Okay. I can start the accompaniment, or I can do it dry, whichever you prefer.
Why don't you try it dry? Let's do
Sure.
it. But if you can imagine those gorgeous chords, you have to imagine those for me. Good.
Okay. I'm so sorry. From the very beginning or from?
Yeah, quel fiamma.
Right.
You want a pitch from me?
Just in case.
There we go.
Quale fiamma.
That's not right, is it? See, maybe I'll try with the.
Try it with the accompaniment. Yes, it's hard. These are
It's so hard with this one. Yeah.
Yes.
Quale fiamma via nel guardo, gli occhi abbassai per tema che leggesse il mio pensier segreto. Oh, se mi sorprendesse, brutale come ieri. Ma basti, ormia, son questi sogni paurosi
This is such a funny. I take more time than the track wants me to take. So.
And you know what? We stop and we go dry now.
Okay.
Let's do this. I don't want you to be rushed. It needs to take as long as it takes for you to set. Now, let me ask you, Avery, what is your game plan for singing that beautiful A? What's your game plan?
I think just in general, when I start to overthink it is when I get in trouble. So I just am thinking about just that really narrow aperture and quick breath. Because otherwise it's just getting like that.
Yes. So what I want to suggest is that instead of trying to start the breath and hope this happens when in fact this will grab on any of us, I want you to think about taking in the atmosphere that you're describing. And believe you me, I know well that all we're thinking about is, dear God, let me get this A. But we're going to pretend and we're going to think about this and try it. You're taking all of this in, taking it in. And when you're inhale, let yourself take a slower inhale. And when the breath hits bottom, when the breath hits bottom, I want you to begin the sound at the tail end of inhalation rather than the onset of exhalation.
Okay.
Just think of once the inhale is finished, try it, and then truly be going somewhere. Don't just hold that note. Whatever you do, you can crescendo it, you can diminuendo it. You should start it. Do not marry yourself to a dynamic. Marry yourself instead to a color.
Right.
It would be really interesting also to start it full and then diminuendo. Do whatever frees you. Make a dramatic choice and answer a technical need.
Sure.
Okay? Terrific. Here is an A. pause. Did that work better? That had a beautiful onset. Did it work a little better?
Yeah, I think the idea of starting it when the inhale finishes, it doesn't give you that millisecond to be like,
Grab. Try it one more time. Be sure you keep an O shape and that you've got the positioning, the pharyngeal positioning that you need. Okay?
sole di mezzagosto.
That's beautiful. Now just do me a favor. Try it one more way and let's do the exact opposite. Think of misting the pitch with air. So we're not blowing air, but just think of misting the sound with air and see if that works a little better.
sure. Ah,
No, I like the other way better, don't
I
you?
do too. It feels too like trepidatious or something.
Absolutely. I want us to try and please let's continue to work with this
Sure.
sometime in our next weeks here. You
Please,
sound
yes.
absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's talk about the next little section. All of this was beautiful. I just want to point out to you that at the bottom of this page, if we're from the same score, and we are, she describes this arcane desire, something that's not known to everybody. And then I think this is so interesting, and I loved that you took a breath before it. She says, I do not know what I yearn for. And I think that's interesting. It's
Yeah.
not just about Silvio.
Right.
She says, I don't know what I'm yearning for. All she knows is that she's not happy.
Mhm.
And then, you know what? It could end again. We started to go back in and kick our shoes off. We can't back because of the beautiful sky and what's going on. And now we can start to leave again. And there's another noticing. And you did that beautifully. You notice now this flight of birds. And I think what's really good to notice here, they're short things. She's seeing them this way. And then we have the reference to the weirdo among the bunch. And who is that? Tell us who that is.
The weirdo?
Yes. Well, who do you reference there?
Her mother?
Yes. Your mother. And what information do you give us about her?
That she understood the babbling bird song and what it meant, and that she shared it with me as a child. And it sounded, and she did it like this. And then there's, the
I love that. Absolutely. And you describe her as she could tell fortunes and she understood the birds. And with this, we start to have the harps. And then later in the opera, the harps are associated with that relationship. It's very interesting. In this time period, the harp's role in orchestration was to take us from typical Western sounds into this exotic world. And I think that's so interesting that that's the music. And then I think you leave a certain reality. And we have the ooh, and I want to point, do not feel obliged to make those short notes.
Okay.
They are half sound and half silence. And the silence is as much a part of the sound fabric as the pitch itself is. So when you do those, I want you to think sound, silence, sound, silence. And in the silence, we keep the throat open. And so we cut off by depositing the sound into the space rather than pulling in and trying to cut off at the throat. Does
Sure.
that make sense to you? Where
Completely.
can we go just to interface with this? Can we go to the music where you have the noticing of the birds? Is that clearly marked, or would you like to do that just a cappella?
Let's see. I had all these marked down, and of course, technological issues in.
Come on. I am so proud of us for standing here and doing this at all. And we have about 5 minutes, so I want to certainly get to the big stuff.
Okay, then I won't try to futz with the timing. I'll just do it.
Good. Let's do that.
Okay.
Oh, wait. You know, that's right.
Che voluto augelli e quanti strida, che chiedono dove van, chissà, la mamma mia,
Okay, pause. I love that. Now, if the music is going bump, 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 it's like double dipping at the salad bar if you do too. Just
Sure.
stand there and notice. We don't have to choreograph that moment. And then I want a big something to land with you
Sure.
that reminds you of your mother. And then that's a whole nother world. Oh,
che voluto augelli e quanti strida, che chiedono dove van, chissà, la mamma mia che la buona ventura annunziava, comprendevano il canto e a me bambina così cantava. I think we
Good.
got separated there for a minute.
yeah, but I'm with you. And I
Okay.
heard it in the sound. I heard it in the sound. Now do the oohs for me. Fabulous. Doesn't that help to think that I'm releasing into the silence and that's part of the sound?
Very much
All
so.
right. 2 minutes here. There is so much gorgeous singing. Can we please meet and work on this also when I'm not talking so much? But it's so exciting. Now, what questions do you have? Here comes the big bird song. And Avery, I know your beautiful talent, so I know that we can talk about this. I don't think it's a happy-go-lucky swing my skirt, the birds are out today.
No.
I think once she has entered, and the orchestra gives us the clues, once she has entered this other world, I think it starts to be urgent. I
Mhm.
think it's not a mad scene. We have that coming up, but there's an urgency about it. She has told us she doesn't know what's going on with her. Also, she does things like she doesn't say birds are floating in the sky. She says they launch and they like arrows pierce things. So
Yeah.
it's incredibly defiant and lustful, I think.
Yes.
This kind of description rather than yadi dadi da, street no lo so. Now, what I
Yes.
do want to do for you is cut all the way to the end.
Sure.
I just want to give you a couple of hints to try. When everything starts to build and it's getting ready for the end,
Mm-hmm.
we're describing rough winds and raging storms. You don't have to compete with the orchestra and be loud there. Not
Okay.
for another 20 years. So
Okay.
let's make a dramatic choice that would occasion a smarter technical plan so that we can survive
Sure.
the end of this huge piece. So let it be tremulous. This is what's happening. This is what's happening, rather than trying to dig in and work against that orchestra. So we would
Yeah.
try that. And then for that last iconic pitch, you arrive so beautifully. I want you to then diminuendo a little bit through it and then crescendo again at the end.
Sure.
We could call it tacky if it didn't always work in the theater. It also always works in the voice. We let ourselves settle back a little bit, we're calm, and then we go for the end. Can we do
Sure.
the last chorus?
Yes.
The
From
last chorus, rather.
Vanno laggiù.
Yes, that would be beautiful.
Sure. Pardon me.
Thank you. Forgive me, Madeline. I'm coming. We just have to hear this. Okay.
Okay.
Vanno laggiù verso un paese strano che sognano forse che cercano invan mai voi
Va. And for those funky 16th note pickups,
Yeah.
just organize yourself that they belong. And this is counterintuitive for a pickup. It belongs not to the harmony it's going to, but the one that it's coming from. And then you'll always find a way. What
Okay.
a special artist you are. And you really inhabit this music and this character so beautifully.
She's very new, so I'm having a lot of fun getting to know her.
Yes, isn't she terrific?
Yes.
Interesting. Such flawed characters, but that find redemptive moments.
Yeah.
So wonderful. All right, in case you don't know, it doesn't end so well, but that's all right. This is a moment for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please be in touch. Let's find some time to flesh out some of the other things.
Absolutely. I would love to. Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you. All right. Speaking of mad scenes.
Hello, my name is Angel Azzarra, and I will be singing Piangete voi al dolce guidami from Donizetti's Anna Bolena. This scene comes right, it's the finale, minus Coppia Aniqua. Anna is in the Tower of London awaiting her fate. She is I'm sure most of you know, she's the second wife of Henry VIII. She is doomed because of her love for Percy, and while she's waiting to be beheaded, she's in a state of absolute delirium, just wandering through her love of Percy, her mistake of marrying Henry, and dreaming of her childhood home.
Piangete voi, donde
Brava, young lady. Just brava. Really beautiful. And this is a very special girl to me. And it always makes me so happy when I think, oh, I'm giving it to the next, those coming along, those gorgeous Ana Bolenas. So congratulations. You've done some beautiful work with some really difficult and grown-up music. So thank you for that. Let's talk through a few things, and then I certainly want to be available to any questions you have. All right, the great mad scene here. You know, and Ana Bolena actually did a lot of first dramatically. It was the first for many kind of dramatic conventions that we now take for granted. It was pretty groundbreaking. One of the things he did was take the typically 4-part mad scene, which is recit, hard as Hades, aria, another recit, and then, oh God, let me get it, cabaletta. Well, for this, he decided that 4 parts wasn't enough, and he gave you 6 parts. And you've just sung 2 of them. So it's a big final act for you. And of course, that incredible recit, she enters the tower, and he has allowed her ladies and Elizabeth, her child, to come in and see her for one last time. And so she goes in, just thinking this is going to be great. And then there must be a noticing. You can't come in sad and keep working that. It seems introspective rather than mad. And certainly the way the music is written and the text describes, we move from one unrelated instance to the other. And that's what makes it a bit unhinged. So when you come in, when you enter this scene, you're expecting them all to be so happy. Isn't this a fabulous day? And it shocks you that they're looking away and they're crying. And you say, what? You're crying? Why? This is the wedding day. And so discover that something's amiss, because everybody should be laughing and cheering and bringing your veil over, rather than preparing to cut your hair. Instead, they're crying and you can't believe that. So let that land and then react to it. So this whole recit is a series of noticings and thoughts that keep it as disjointed as it should be in this situation. And then I just want you to be aware that right after we've said, don't anybody tell Percy, the king has said, nobody tell him even. And then we have that lone clarinet. Woodwinds usually are the symbol that something crazy's coming, or winds. Lucia has her flute, you have the clarinet, and then later for the gorgeous aria, the English horn. So dwell in that orchestration, find that color. But first, you're seduced by the color by hearing that clarinet. And I would focus on it like you hear something. Because what do you say? Oh, who's over there? Yes, exactly. So let yourself notice a sound. In Lucia, how many Lucias walk to the edge of the stage for the flute and have a relationship with the instrument itself? That is possible for you here. So let yourself hear that. That's important. Oh, some just beautiful singing. I have hearts all over the place here. I'm loving it. Now you make a choice that I want to just vet with you. You sing the G, and then you don't take a breath, you tie over. And I just want you to try sometime and see what you think. I think that first G, when we hit it, it belongs to the beat before and everything you've been singing about that's so afraid. I think that G explodes from those given circumstances. And then I like the separation because I get another color So the first G is a reaction to what you've heard and the fear that somebody's telling on you, they're going to come. This is not going to end well. And then you say, oh, God, forgive me. Oh, please forgive me. And so try it sometime with the separation so that we have an additional color in there that prompts this begging for forgiveness. And of course, that forgiveness is to per se. Yes. Did you?
If I do the separation, should I just go ahead and take the B flat?
That's up to you. I happen to like it, but I
played around with it a little bit. I'm really attached to the attaching, but I'll try it different ways. I tried it with the B flat and the break, and
this has to be right for you. So try it and see what you think. But I think there's something that has to be, and you can just change the color. But there's a difference between, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and then please, per se, forgive me. Please forgive me.
Oh, I've been singing it like I'm mad at myself. Like I'm mad at myself for marrying him. Okay, I didn't even think about trying to change the direction of the apology.
That's what I think, especially since the clarinet brings his personality, his character in. Try it and see what you think. Good. And then the break makes sense because after the fermato, when you say estrema, then you say tu sorridi. And that means that in that fermata, in that silence, you've asked him, please forgive me, this extreme thing, this terrible extreme thing. You forgive me, you're smiling. Right. And so we have another little beat change there, asked and answered. You ask for forgiveness and he gives it to you because now he's smiling and she's so happy. And that takes us through the end of this, which you did beautiful, this recitative. The aria, of course, now the recit has been in and out of these noticings and thoughts and instances. And she is decidedly, once she sees these women aren't living in her reality, it throws her. But now for the aria, it's very interesting. She gets still, she gets calm, and she asks for one thing. Just let me go home. And so I think that that's actually, and I get a little thinking.
I know, I'm like, oh.
I think that's one of the moments where sanity starts to creep in, or at least she's aware of the dire nature of her circumstances.
Right.
And so she says, can I just go to where the waters babbled and everything was green? And can I go back there where it was our love? And so, and then that morphs into something that becomes based on Home Sweet Home, a tune that sounds like Home Sweet Home. So it's something, I think that the stillness of the Al dolce guidami is a moment of lucidity. And she gets calm. And then the cadenzas and the melismas come and they let us know that something else is starting to bubble up. And so we get glimpses of what's coming next and what came before. But then it starts to make sense when it's juxtaposed into this stillness of the aria proper. You are doing some beautiful singing. I heard you, of course, last summer. I am particularly impressed with the new colors. I feel there's a warmer color. I feel the sound has more room. I'm loving some of the flexibility. You are really on the right path. So complimenti to you and your teachers and everybody that is working with you. It's pretty wonderful stuff. Love the cadenza at the end. You stole from the greats, which I always recommend. That was wonderful. I think you can get through that. I think you can get through that in one breath, Angel. I know that you can.
I can when it's a cappella. I promise. When it's a cappella, I've got it. but
I know that. I don't doubt that for one moment. I think one of the things to really help you is know that the attaccatura is not treated as such. We pull it out and have 4 evens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it starts to have a motion that kind of cries into the top pitch. And you'll even be able to pour it down and then breathe.
Right.
Now, I have just thrown so much information at you. What section would you like to try?
Could we go from just before the E misgrida?
Yes, in the recitativo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Where is that? From Evano, e vieni.
Around, yes, maybe a little before.
Let's go from Evano
Mm-hmm.
and then e viene. Do you see that?
I think I've got it.
Okay. And we
Oh,
do need
before
that appoggiatura. We do need that appoggiatura. Okay, pause. We need that appoggiatura. It follows a sequence. Hey, Macusa. One more time. Here we go.
I don't have the F after that.
No, you mean the G. That was fabulous. Then we'll go. I'll hit it. Try it again. I love it. Let's go from E Macusa. Here's an E flat. Bravo. Okay. I love that. I love that G, B flat juxtaposition there. And I love, we're getting a slight echo. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
Okay, great. So I love that color change, but you are the Anna. So you think about what is most authentic for you. But I really liked it, especially when you have a B flat like that. How did that feel to organize that a bit better?
It feels really good. I mean, I'll be honest. The initial me singing through it, I've had it for about 2 weeks, so I was really just focused on get through this aria, don't mess up. But also, I really was thinking very, as you said, like very internally about Anna, and not thinking she has so many people on stage with her, and there's so much outer things to deal with. You can't be listless on stage in delirium. The delirium has to be present.
It's active. And what makes it delirium is not some kind of mood we paste on ourselves, but unrelated noticings, unrelated ideas.
And reacting wrong to them.
Absolutely. Or reacting correctly to them. But that is the rhythm of good acting. Reacting. Something happens, I react to it. Something happens, I react to it. And where you need to act is not on the line,
Right.
but on the idea that makes the reaction inevitable. So where you need to act is in noticing what's not right here, and then the line will take care of itself because it's a reaction. And then we don't have, Angel, this kind of stand still between the phrases and then act on the phrase and then stand still. You get active on the idea that makes the line inevitable.
Right.
And that's a great pattern. It's also just a good organization that interfaces with technical needs, because at the very moment I visit the idea that the character has, I have an opportunity to reshape this whole tract for what I need vocally. So
Right.
inhaling changes and adjusts the pharyngeal shape for what we need. It also visits an idea that will make the line inevitable. Fantastic. Now, what in the aria? We've got about 4 minutes.
That last, I mean, honestly, the last page from
Let's go.
Nostro Amor.
You are doing some beautiful things here. I would be remiss not to say to you, and of course, it's just the second time you're doing it, but when you did it this time with specificity in the dramatic choices and organization, this relaxed. The color came. There was no blowing of breath. There were a lot of things that came along for the ride when you were organized in the drama.
Right.
And I think it's pretty fabulous when that happens. All right. Where do you want to start?
Somewhere
Nostro Amor, right on it. Great. May I give you your D? Pause. Pause. What does dolce mean?
Dolce, sweet.
Good. Can I have a dropped jaw and let that color infuse, perfume the word? Okay. We need
faster.
You can go even faster, but you know what you're doing right very early in your process with this heroine is you've got the right chromatics. Brava. Those are much better than they usually are. Usually people will go for the speed, and then we have to spend 6 months getting those chromatics right at the end of this melisma. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Part of what's costing you energy is that the mouth is changing adjustments,
Okay.
and you're changing the vowel, and that's costing us a lot of energy and a lot of breath. Set it and forget it. And just let 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and aim for the 1. You're sitting on the 3. You're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and the crazy chromatic. And then let it exhaust itself on the A. And then the portamento down can be a dramatic decay, not just thank you, God, I'm through with this because I am way out of breath. Can we try that? Let's just try that phrase, el nostro. Almost. Keep working with it. They can continue to accelerate. Also, I want to inspire you, request of you to do the giorno sol as an echo to the first groupette before it. So play with that. What question might you have for me? And I can't wait to share this with you in much greater detail. I've got one more little cadenza to have you try sometime. So we'll find the time to do that. But is there any question you have for me of this?
I mean, really, it's a you kind of answered my question for the Del Nostro Amor, because I was just having a lot of trouble. I'm so focused on making sure the chromatics are right that I'm getting stuck in it instead of letting it spin.
Great. And I recommend the most pedantic thing, to do it several times a day and set your metronome, and then just speed it up, and don't compromise correctness for speed. You're
Right.
making the right mistake. You're erring on the right side. This is a phenomenal piece of music. You know, in bel canto, there's so much demand on the voice because we have taken formerly what dwelled like this
Right.
and worked in a harmonic environment and turned it up and made it all linear. So the story and the music is between the pitches, not just on them. And there's very little, as in Rossini, for example, who is just like Haydn on crack, just all of that vertical and harmonic rhythm is reassigned here in Donizetti and Bellini to the linear, the melodic line. So there's a lot to consider, but my word, are you ever going to be a stunning Bolena? And I'll look forward to being in the house when it's your turn. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now I think we have a fantastic baritone lurking.
Hello, Miss Thomas. This is Brian, my pianist, and I'm Kyle Miller, and we would like to sing Piero's Tanzlied from Die Tote Stadt by Korngold. Mein Sehnen, mein Wehnen, es träumt sich zurück, im Tanze gewann ich, verlor ich mein Glück. Im Tanze am Rhein, beim Mondenschein, gestand mir's aus Blau ein inniger Blick, gestand mir's ihr bittend Wort, O bleib, o geh mir nicht fort, bewahre der Heimat still blühendes Glück. Mein Sehnen, mein Wehnen, es träumt sich zurück. Zauber der Ferne warf in die Seele den Brand. Zauber des Tanzes lockte, war komödiant. Folgt ihr der Wundersüßen, lernt unter gaukles Geschick. Mein Sinnen, mein Wehnen, es träumt sich zurück,
Wow. Just beautiful. And thank you so much to your wonderful collaborator. Ain't technology grand? Good heavens. That was just done beautifully. Thank you so much. It's very moving to see people make music, if not in the same room, at least together. So thank you for the gift of that. All right, Kyle, there is a lot of beautiful stuff going on here. And I want to talk about some things and continue a little bit on my particular stomp to stomp. And that has to do with the marriage of what our composer is asking of us, what our librettist is asking of us, and what we can do technically to answer that. So I think this is so beautiful. Would you share with everyone what this beat before is? What is it that makes this aria happen?
Right. Well, this is in Act 2 of Die Tote Stadt. I am Fritz, and I'm in Marietta's acting troupe, and we come in on these ships, and we're doing this impromptu rehearsal, and Marietta turns to me and she says, "Sing for everyone, will you?" So I sing this song, and it's about it's about this love that I had and how that is no longer, and how I became who I am today.
I love that. Yeah. This is one crazy kind of opera, and we have several levels of realities existing, only one of which is real at any given time. There are all these layers. It's Hitchcockian. Think of Vertigo. It's that kind of madness. And this particular piece is known as stage music. And you know what, Kyle? It is literally that right in the middle of this opera. Ploop, we plop this down. And it's an enormously, I think, humane moment. And it doesn't live, I don't think, in that reality or any others. I do think, and you and I spoke about this, I think you're so right. I think it's just, he chooses for it. He allows for it to become his moment, which is what I think those fermati are about before you come in.
Right.
Isn't it interesting? What is the first word you say?
My. Right.
I'm going to say something that's even about me.
Right.
And then I think you choose what it is and you say, my yearning. No, that's not it. That's not it. I'm going to have to sing a higher pitch. Exactly. Right. Yes, my obsession or this mad wanderlust. And then, you know what? No, that's not it. And I'm going to sing even higher. And Kyle, I'm going to ask you not to take a breath there. Okay. You're doing such beautiful work. We're just going to at least try it.
Please, yeah.
So also, do you think there's any relationship as an actor? My first instinct is always to make a connection with what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what's going on around me. But in truth, and Korngold requests this himself. He says, once you start, everyone that's in the troupe and everyone around you should freeze and look with their head tilted fantastically toward you. It's incredible. Things kind of freeze and all focus. And what I would love to see in that moment is you leave your character and become Pierrot.
Okay.
So you choose to seize the moment and have a truthful moment, but only behind a mask. And so there are very simple things you can do. The first fermata can react to the request. The second one can decide, all right, and take on one of the commedia dell'arte poses that signals to your audience that we've gone into a character. And then I think the third one, you choose what to say. So that's the first thing to start this great aria, is to set up and organize that action. Then, oh my goodness, you have beautiful dynamics. Thank you for that. I think we can do even longer phrases, and I think we can come up with additional colors. I think there are things to excavate from your talent, but it's just beautifully done. I would request, especially in these opening phrases, these words, and they come back. And they come back, and they have to be different each time that they do. But put the consonants on the pitch. The M, of course, is made with the lips. N is with the tongue, but M is with the lips. And consonants should go, in my opinion, on the pitch they're going to, not the pitch they're coming from, and God knows not in the middle. Try to make the, language, it's more than just correct pronunciation. We have to find this personal relationship with the words, and they are, by the nature of our art form, onomatopoetic. They say through their sound what they mean, not mere information of text. So find, and I know this is such a hallmark of Pat's work, her relationship to text. So we are doubly inspired to do that. But put the consonants on the pitch and really find a way to dwell in the word. So may we do the beginning, and may we try this, what you ask something of me? Okay, and change your physical architecture so that we recognize you've gone into the character of Pierrot, and then choose to share something real.
Okay.
Because do you believe, I don't think it's a ditty. I don't think it's a tune.
No, not at all. No.
Okay, you think it's something personal that happened to him. You think he stepped away from something towards his art.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And that's a common theme, that we have this lure of this, what we believe is a higher calling, and then it somehow can make us a victim.
Yes.
In choosing it, we become a victim. And I think that your character dwells in that dilemma. That's just a literary device, and he dwells there for this whole aria. All right. Can we try that? And thank you, Maestro. Thank you so much.
Mein Sinnen, mein Wehnen, es träumt ich zurück.
Pause. That was pretty fabulous. How did it feel to take that time? And I love the fermatas actually belonging not to a time out, but a very full time in. How did it feel?
There was a moment where I was like, is there magic happening? I felt so taken by something. It was very, very beautiful.
Well, and it's your own thought process and your own decision to sing. Now, those consonants were terrific. And sometimes when you enter the vowel, and I certainly know who your very fine teacher is, it goes straight tone for a second.
Right,
and we
right.
cannot. A straight tone can be a wonderful dramatic color, but it has to be so carefully chosen because it renders something out of tune.
Right, absolutely.
Even though it might not be. If it stops spinning, it's flat.
Right.
Can we do that just one more? And I promise to send you $1. And by the way, look at how you made that phrase.
Yeah, wow.
Wow. Okay, again.
Mein Sinnen, mein Wöhnen, es träumt ich zurück, im Tanze gewann ich, verlor ich mein Glück, im Tanze am Rhein.
That was beautiful. Now, when you start the waltz for both of you, the reference is quite literal, but when we start it, 1, 2, 3, and then he gives us tenuti, 1, 2, 3, and then he dots it 1, 2, 3. And it needs to have not the heaviness of the situation, but literally the lilt of the dance. Yes. Can we start just that phrase? Wonderful.
Yes, okay. Es träumt ich zurück, im Tanze gewann ich, verlor ich mein Glück, im Tanze am Rhein, bei Mondenschein, gestand mir's aus Blau ein inniger Blick.
Pause. Good. Beautiful. Can you do, what does that word mean, Indiga?
Inniger Blick, inward, heartfelt.
And the most intimate.
Right.
The most intimate.
Right.
What it means. It's the most intimate. So you're achieving that dynamically. I'm wondering if the sound might be misted with more spin, more, in my world, more head voice color.
Okay.
So you've achieved a dynamic. I wonder if we can add to it a color. Can we try that? Where would you like to start?
Gestand mir's.
Perfect.
Gestand mir's aus Blau ein inniger Blick, gestand mir's ihr bittend Wort, o bleib.
This is now a quote.
Right.
Another literary device that can never go unnoticed.
Yes.
So I think the color should change because there's a colon there.
Right.
And then you say exactly what she said to you.
Right.
All right. Where can we start? That was beautiful, by the way. How did that feel to do not just a dynamic effect, but this color choice as well?
It honestly, it feels easier because I'm just singing and putting it into my body. So it's easier to do that than to sort of find a color per se.
Fabulous. Beautiful. All right. Where do you want to start to get this quote to change the color for her voice?
Maybe just the pick up to the next. Gestand mir's.
Fantastic.
Gestand mir's ihr bittend Wort, o bleib, o geh mir nicht fort, bewahre der Heimat still blühenden
pause before we get to the gorgeous theme. That was gorgeous. Now, the Blühendes was stunning, but the Heimat kind of sat and didn't spin.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you lost this beautiful room that you had. Whether you conceive of that here or here, it flattened and went to a speech setting rather than a sung setting, just on that word Heimat.
Okay.
So can we go back to the same place? That was stunning.
Right. Gestand.
Yes, Bestand.
Gestand miss ihr bittend Wort, o bleib, o geh mir nicht fort, bewahre der Heimat still blühendes Glück. Mein Sinnen, mein Wehnen, es träumt dich zurück.
Pause. This is wonderful. That was absolutely beautiful. And then when we started with the magic, we had a consonant about a whole step below the pitch, and we had a little bit of a straight tone.
Okay.
Can we just let the color describe what the word means? Okay.
So, okay. Should I go just from?
You can, absolutely.
Zauber der Ferne warf in die Seele den Brand. Zauber des Tanzes lockte, war komödiant. Vor dir der wundersüßen.
Pause. You are doing so beautifully, and thank you for not taking that breath.
Great.
Thank you. That's some mighty fine singing and work. Thank you. Now, when we've got here, our composer has requested 3 portamenti in a row, and they have to happen.
Right.
That right there, we have to have 3 right in a row. Can we go from 4?
Right. So sorry, okay, right, okay. Vor dir der Wundersüßen lernt unter Tränen küssen.
Okay, before we get here, and pardon me, Maestro, you're playing so beautifully. Now here we spell the dilemma. Tell me what these words mean coming up.
Right. Rausch is intoxication, and Not is pain.
Yep.
Wahn is madness, and Glück is joy. So sort of these differing ideas and how they
And
all.
doesn't that spell the dilemma? They're
Right.
not just different ideas. There were what you were pursuing and what it cost you, what you were pursuing in your art and what it cost you. And I love that we have those words there, and it informs how we sing it. So can he play us in again one more time so beautifully? And I just wanted you to prepare that. And then what do we state right after that? After we define the dilemma, we say, well, what is it?
Right. This is my destiny. This is a performer's destiny.
And certainly a clown's, the Pierrot.
Right, right.
This is it. So let that be a truth that lands on you like a ton of bricks.
Right, right.
Okay? Right
Yeah.
before that.
Rausch und Not, Wahn und Glück. Ach, das ist gaukles Geschick. Mein Sehnen, mein Wehnen, es träumt sich zurück, zurück, zurück.
Bravo. And I would love just to add, you know, we talked about Robert Cohen's GOAT, his famous GOAT plan. And at the end is this weird word, expectation. And I think it always gives us the end of an aria. So after you have finished, I loved this as the Pierrot character, and he's in one position, one kind of field of vision. And then I think after you finish singing, you check back in with Marietta. Marietta.
Right.
Did that do it? Did I entertain you? You know, it's very, so I think we have this check-in with her and you go back. The clown leaves and you hope that you've pleased this former lover, this friend. You hope you've done your job. It's so much fun because do you know what opera they're rehearsing? Do you know what theatrical event they're rehearsing?
Robert the Devil. The Diablo.
Yes, a Meyerbeer opera. It's a long night in the theater, one could argue. We need this gorgeous entertainment. So I just loved it. What a beautiful voice. Is this repeatable? Is what we did something you can continue to think about as you do something that will inevitably be yours?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I will work on this. I will keep on working at it.
And I can't wait till we work again this month later. I'm so looking forward to it. Maestro, thank you. What a joy to make music with someone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I thank all of you. What a fantastic afternoon for me. It's just been a gift. And I am so honored and happy to be here with my dear friend and this unbelievable visionary leader who has invited me along for a wonderful ride. So thank you, Pat. Thank you, darling.
Thank you all. That was fantastic. It was just so wonderful. Really, your wisdom, your charm, your intelligence, both interpretively and vocally, is just oozing out all over all of us. And it's just such a privilege and a pleasure, really. And was Anna Bolena one of your roles?
Yes.
Yeah, you speak about it as though it was. And,
Don't you feel that way? You have your girls. Don't
you have your girls. You have your girls and you just know them so well because you've lived it. So that's wonderful. So I thank you for joining us. And I thank Kyle, Avery, and Angel. I have to say, I've worked with all of you now several times, first the time last June, and now through this expansion program, and you have really you're just making such strides, and I'm so pleased for you, and I'm so proud of you, if I can sound a bit nurturing that way. Anyway, listen, everyone, I'm so thrilled you were able to join us, and sadly, we've reached the end of this masterclass, and thank you so much for spending this time with us. We hope you will join us again for the next installment of our John D. and Sally S. Levy masterclasses. The learning continues on Thursday, March 18th at 4 p.m. Central, featuring acclaimed tenor and Juilliard faculty member William Burton. For more information about upcoming classes, please visit us online at experienceopera.org/masterclasses. Thank you again for joining us today. We will see you soon.